afternoon. My name is Brandon Lenore.
And I'm Nasser Omar.
And today we have a very special segment on LPD News. We're doing a segment on Future 21st Century Leader Spotlight. Today we have a kid named Quasi Ennen. Quasi is a 17-year-old kid from Long Island, New York, who just got accepted to 8 Ivy League schools.
All 8. And here's a kid, when we look at what leadership means as far as LPD is concerned, here's a kid who really exemplified Herman's whole brain model, right? So, in order to get into all 8 of the Ivy League schools, obviously you have to be extremely analytical, you have to have great logic skills. So that's that upper left side of it. But what makes Quasi so interesting and such a dynamic student is he's also been able to show how great his right brain skills are. So here's a kid who not only scored over 2,200 on the SAT, got into all 8 Ivies, but what you might not know about him is that he's also a violinist and a singer. So having that extracurricular background, having that ability to have that balance that Herman talks about in this model is really what makes Quasi such a great leader, and really, as far as LPD is concerned, how we personify leadership.
That's a good point. Now, you talk about how he's a violinist and singer. Actually, the essay that got him accepted into all 8 Ivy League schools was about his life in music. To be exact, it was titled A Life in Music. Mm-hmm. Now, with that type of background, you have an African-American kid from Long Island. He went to William Floyd High School, and there's been a lot of criticisms about how he got accepted, and a lot of reporters have been trying to diminish the fact from his talents and his skills as a future 21st century leader. Now, it should be taken note that it's not about his race or, how his upbringing was, but about how effective he is with detailing about all of his leadership traits in the same models that we see in the Focus model and the 21st century leadership development model.
And just to add to that, I think the point about that's a good point. First of all, I think the point about his immigrant status, him being of a different descent of a person, really speaks to what LPD likes to call the glass ceiling, right? So we talk about a lot with LPD of this glass ceiling of the ceiling between the corporate individuals that are at the C-level position and everybody else, and how there's such a disparity with races as it pertains to that. So I think that's really that discrimination and that saying that, hey, here's an immigrant kid who's gotten all 8 Ivies, that really speaks to how discriminatory a lot of people are and how that relates to leadership, and particularly the glass ceiling was one of the things we talk about in LPD.
He's surely breaking that glass ceiling. LPD News has just gotten word firsthand that he has accepted his offer into Yale as his first choice.
So we know that Quasi particularly wants to be a future physician, and we have been afforded the opportunity to speak with a physics major here at Morehouse College and kind of ask him about his take about Quasi and how it relates to leadership in general. So now we're going to send it over to Brandon, who is going to quickly step aside and interview Mr. Zach, who is a Morehouse student and a physician major.
Thanks so much, Nasser. Now we're going to have a sit-down talk with a good friend of mine and current Morehouse student, Zachary Fitch. Zach?
Hey, how you doing, Brandon?
How's it going, man? Today on LPD News, we have a special segment called Future 21st Century Leadership Spotlight, and we're going to talk about Quasi Ennen. As you know, Quasi, he's a 17-year-old high school student who just got accepted to all 8 Ivy League schools. Now, as modest as he is, Zach is also one of the top students in his class as a future physicist, and Quasi is also interested in physics as well. So you could just give us a little background on yourself and the overall impact and perception of Quasi and the great deeds that he's done.
Well, myself as a physicist, I like physics and maths, and I feel like Quasi is taking it to the next step of what he's been doing. By getting to acceptance at 8 Ivy League schools as an African American male, that's just phenomenal. I feel like more males should be concerned in math and science, as it is probably the leading roles in the job community.
That's very true. And as you just said, the community is in much need of future 21st century leaders in all career fields. Now, Quasi, he's a first generation American to be accepted into all these Ivy League schools, which is great. So how do you feel like his accomplishments have impacted the community at large?
I think this is a wake-up call for a lot of people in the community. Seeing someone of his age do such an accomplishment just like this is saying, it's giving parents an idea. I want my child to be the same as Quasi, be accepted into not 8 but 10 even, just be accepted, period. You don't see a lot of black kids going to Ivy League colleges, period. So I think for the community and what Quasi has done is it's about to uplift and make a big change.
That's very true. Now, Zach, you're about on your way out. You've already matriculated mostly through Morehouse College. And being 21, he's 17 years old. How would you advise Quasi in the next 4 years to continue his excellence and pursuing as a 21st century leader? Like, what are some of the things that you would advise him to do since you're going into the field of physics?
That's a good question, Brandon. I think Quasi's well on his way to continue doing great. As a 17-year-old, I myself didn't see myself being in Quasi's position. I know as I matriculated through Morehouse, I continue to learn and whatnot from the experiences that I had during college. I say as Quasi continues to, continue his success into college, just be able to learn from people that he meet, continue to do what he's done to get where he is today. So I feel like as long as he stays on the right track for him to get accepted to 8 Ivy League colleges, he's well on his way to continue his success and be great as far as the new generation comes on.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, we thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you later.